It finally happened. After years of controversies, broken promises, and mounting pressure, Justin Trudeau has officially announced his resignation as Prime Minister of Canada. This marks the end of an era for one of the most polarizing leaders in Canadian history.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Trudeau's announcement has sent shockwaves across the country, leaving Canadians divided. For some, it's a moment of relief, an overdue end to a leader they believe failed to deliver on his promises. For others, it's a bittersweet farewell to a man who championed progressive values and led Canada through some of its most challenging times. But make no mistake, this resignation didn't come out of nowhere. Trudeau's decision to step down is the culmination of years of declining poll numbers, internal party struggles, and a growing disconnect with the Canadian public. And now the question on everyone's mind is, what went so wrong?
Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today.
In this video, we'll break down the key moments from Trudeau's resignation speech, analyze the factors that led to his downfall, and explore the reactions from Canadians, his political allies, and his fiercest opponents. Before we begin, can I ask for a quick favor? If you're enjoying this video, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It's completely free and really helps us keep making great content for you. If you've already hit that button, thank you. Now let's get back to it. The fall of Justin Trudeau. How did we get here? Justin Trudeau's resignation didn't happen in a vacuum. It's the result of years of mounting controversies, broken promises, and a growing sense of disillusionment among Canadians. Once celebrated as a fresh, progressive leader who promised sunny ways, Trudeau's political career has been overshadowed by scandals, policy failures, and a disconnect with the public that became impossible to ignore.
And it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
Let's start with the numbers. Trudeau's approval ratings have been in freefall for years. According to recent polling, only 19% of Canadians wanted him to stay on as Prime Minister. A staggering collapse for a leader who once commanded a majority government. The Liberal Party itself has been struggling, with internal divisions and dissatisfaction among MPs who felt Trudeau's leadership was no longer an asset. His own words during the resignation speech confirm this. The internal battles within the party were a key factor in his decision to step down. But the cracks in Trudeau's leadership go far beyond his party. His government's inability to address the rising cost of living, skyrocketing housing prices, and inflation left many Canadians feeling abandoned. For years, Trudeau promised bold action on these issues, but the results never materialized. Instead, Canadians were left with gimmicks and PR stunts that did little to solve their real problems.
But I do wish that we'd been able to change the way we elect our governments in this country so that people could simply choose a second choice or a third choice on the same ballot.
At a part here, one of Trudeau's most glaring failures was his broken promise to reform Canada's electoral system. Back in 2015, he campaigned on a pledge to make every vote count, promising that the 2015 election would be the last under the first-past-the-post system. But that promise was quietly abandoned, leaving many Canadians feeling betrayed. Even in his resignation speech, Trudeau admitted this was one of his biggest regrets, a missed opportunity to bring real change to Canada's democracy. And then there were the scandals. From the SNC-Lavalin affair to the infamous blackface photos, Trudeau's credibility took hit after hit. These controversies not only damaged his reputation, but also eroded trust in his leadership. For many Canadians, these moments weren't just mistakes. They were symbols of a leader who seemed out of touch with the values he claimed to represent.
And it's time for Uncle Justin to go home. He's drunk. Here's a cab. It's time to go.
Even Trudeau's public image, once a major strength, became a liability. His tone-deaf antics, like making TikTok videos and baking cinnamon rolls while Canadians struggled with inflation and housing crises, only fueled the perception that he was out of touch with the realities facing everyday people. These moments, while seemingly trivial, became emblematic of a leader who had lost his connection with the public. But perhaps the most significant factor in Trudeau's downfall was the growing sense of fatigue among Canadians. After nearly a decade in power, Trudeau's sunny ways had given way to frustration and cynicism. His government's inability to deliver on key promises, combined with a series of missteps and controversies, left many Canadians feeling it was time for a change. Trudeau's resignation is the culmination of all these factors. A leader who once inspired hope and optimism is now stepping aside as his party and the country demand a new direction. But the story doesn't end here. The reactions to his resignation from the public, his colleagues, and his opponents paint a vivid picture of a nation divided. The resignation speech, key moments. Justin Trudeau's resignation speech was carefully crafted, but it revealed more than just his decision to step down. It offered a glimpse into the pressures, regrets, and challenges that defined his time in office. Let's break down the most significant moments from the speech and what they tell us about his legacy. The announcement itself was direct and to the point. Trudeau confirmed that he would step down as both Prime Minister and leader of the Liberal Party once a new leader is chosen. He framed this decision as being in the best interest of the party and the country, acknowledging that internal battles within the Liberal Party had made it clear he was no longer the best option to lead them into the next election.
That is why, since 2015, I've fought for this country, for you, to strengthen and grow the middle class. Why we rallied to support each other through the pandemic, to advance reconciliation, to defend free trade on this continent, to stand strong with Ukraine and our democracy, and to fight climate change and get our economy ready for the future.
Trudeau took time to reflect on his achievements, listing key accomplishments such as advancing reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, defending free trade, and standing with Ukraine during its fight against Russian aggression. He also emphasized his government's efforts to combat climate change and prepare Canada's economy for the future. These moments were clearly aimed at shaping his legacy as a progressive leader who fought for Canadian values on the global stage.
But I have always been driven by my love for Canada, by my desire to serve Canadians, and by what is in the best interests of Canadians.
Trudeau ended his speech with a heartfelt message about his love for Canada and his desire to serve its people. He spoke about the challenges facing the country and expressed hope that his resignation would help lower the temperature in Canadian politics, allowing the government to focus on the issues that matter most to Canadians. While the speech was polished and emotional, it also raised questions. Was this truly a decision made out of love for the country, or was it a strategic move to save the Liberal Party from further decline? Trudeau's acknowledgement of internal party struggles suggests the latter, but the full story will likely unfold in the coming months. Trudeau's resignation speech was a mix of reflection, regret, and optimism. It painted a picture of a leader who, despite his flaws and failures, still believes in the values he fought for. But as the dust settles, the focus now shifts to how Canadians, his colleagues, and his opponents are reacting to this bombshell announcement. Fourth, public reactions, relief, criticism, and uncertainty. Justin Trudeau's resignation has sparked a wave of reactions across Canada, with emotions running high on all sides. From relief among his critics to sadness from his supporters, the announcement has left the nation divided. Let's take a closer look at how Canadians are responding to this political bombshell. For many Canadians, Trudeau's resignation is long overdue. His critics have been vocal about their frustrations with his leadership, pointing to his inability to address key issues like the housing crisis, inflation, and the rising cost of living. This sentiment is echoed by many who feel Trudeau's time in office was marked by broken promises and scandals. For them, his resignation represents a chance for Canada to move forward with new leadership and fresh ideas. As one commentator put it, this is the end of an era, and not a moment too soon. The online reaction to Trudeau's resignation has been a mix of celebration, reflection, and speculation. Some are calling for a complete overhaul of the Liberal Party, while others are speculating about who might step up to replace him. It's worth noting that the public's reaction isn't just about Trudeau, it's also about the state of Canadian politics as a whole. Many Canadians are expressing frustration with the political system, calling for more accountability and transparency from their leaders. Trudeau's resignation has become a lightning rod for broader discussions about the direction of the country. Recent polling data underscores the public's desire for change. Trudeau's approval ratings have been in steady decline, with only 19% of Canadians supporting him to stay on as Prime Minister. This dissatisfaction isn't limited to Trudeau himself. It reflects a broader discontent with the Liberal Party and its handling of key issues. Trudeau's decision to step down is being seen by many as a necessary step to give the Liberal Party a chance to rebuild and reconnect with voters. But whether this move will be enough to restore public trust remains to be seen. 5. Political allies and opponents. The fallout begins. Justin Trudeau's resignation has not only shaken the public, but also sent shockwaves through Canada's political establishment. His allies within the Liberal Party are now scrambling to regroup, while his opponents are seizing the moment to capitalize on his departure. Let's dive into how the political landscape is shifting in the wake of this announcement. The question now is, who will step up to lead the party? Potential successors are already being discussed, with names like Chrystia Freeland and François-Philippe Champagne circulating as possible contenders. However, the party faces a steep uphill battle. With declining poll numbers and a growing disconnect with voters, the next leader will need to address the issues that Trudeau struggled with: housing, inflation, and affordability, while also uniting a fractured party. The leadership race will be critical not just for the Liberal Party, but for the future of Canadian politics. Will the party double down on Trudeau's progressive agenda, or will it pivot to a more centrist approach to win back disillusioned voters? The stakes couldn't be higher. For Trudeau's political opponents, his resignation is a golden opportunity. The Conservative Party, led by Pierre Poilievre, has been relentless in its criticism of Trudeau's government, focusing on issues like the cost of living and government spending. Poilievre wasted no time responding to the announcement, framing it as a victory for Canadians, warning them of the Liberal Party's hypocrisy. The Conservatives are already positioning themselves as the party of solutions, promising to tackle the affordability crisis and restore fiscal responsibility. With Trudeau out of the picture, they're likely to intensify their attacks on the Liberal Party, framing it as a government in chaos and out of ideas. Meanwhile, the New Democratic Party, NDP, and its leader, Jagmeet Singh, are also looking to capitalize on Trudeau's resignation. The NDP has been critical of Trudeau's handling of issues like housing and healthcare, and they're likely to use this moment to push for more progressive policies. However, the NDP faces its own challenges, including limited resources and a struggle to expand its voter base. In Quebec, the Bloc Québécois is expected to use Trudeau's resignation to further its narrative of federal government dysfunction. The Bloc has consistently criticized Trudeau's leadership, particularly on issues like Quebec's autonomy and language laws. With Trudeau stepping down, the Bloc may see an opportunity to strengthen its position in the province, especially if the Liberal Party struggles to find a leader who resonates with Quebec voters. Justin Trudeau's resignation marks the end of a political era in Canada. Love him or hate him, there's no denying the impact he's had on the country over the past decade. From his sweeping 2015 victory that promised sunny ways, to the controversies and challenges that defined his later years. Trudeau's legacy is one of both triumphs and failures. But as one chapter closes, another begins. Trudeau's departure leaves Canada at a crossroads. With the Liberal Party facing an uncertain future, and the opposition parties gearing up for what could be one of the most consequential elections in recent history. The questions now are, who will step up to lead the Liberals? Can the party recover from years of declining support? And what does this mean for the future of Canada's political landscape? What do you think? Was Trudeau's resignation the right move for Canada? And who do you think should take the reins as the next leader of the Liberal Party? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on the stories that matter most. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.